Hello everybody and welcome back to Cal's Maker Company. My name is Cal Sniz, and then welcome to our first beginning of computer-aided drafting shortcuts. So what we're going to explain right now is using our outside sources, which is the ones that will be using, which is our keyboard and our mouse. So we're going to explain that one along the way. So as we know, we're going to go through our content, which is the keyboard and mouse. We're going to go over the mouse functions. That should be the easiest one of all. The keyboard too as well, which has a lot of functions, but how do we use those key letters into our computer-aided draftings? And we have some examples down below that does have these functions right away. I'm not sure about TinkerCAD, but Onshape and Solidworks and other functions too as well that has the same similarity that could help us out. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now our tools for this we're going to use is the keyboard and mouse, as explained before. There's different other varieties of mouses out there. I noticed that there's a lot of them that you have to use for hands, or traditionally it can be this one right here, and the other ones that has a more advanced mouse functions that has like a steering stick. Some of them has like a pen function, and others times they do have a lot of different buttons. But some of those functions are not very compatible, while some of the elements are being useful, which is the tower with the controller that steers your mouse. That could be useful too as well for the AutoCAD system, depending which computer drafting is that you're using. That will help us out, and also it will aid you yourself to be more functional and easy for you to access. Now, the keyboard, straightforward. All of them are always the same things. You have the buttons, which is these guys right here, the arrows, the numbers, the other letters and symbols, and also the alphabets too as well, which is the as you can see from A to Z's. And that we do have the other function, which is the space, shift, control, alt, FN, if the keyboard does have that, capital lock, tabs, escape, which is ESC, PRT, CSC, which is print screen, volume functions, delete, insert, and other functions too as well. So now then, what we're going to do right now is explain some of the other functions in reality of how you use them and how you use that tools into the computer drafting. Right now, this is not the example what I was going for. Don't worry about these ones. These are just a demonstration to show you what it is right now. There's different type of tools out there. You can actually use it on either both your desktop computer or your laptop. The laptop, I will show you that too until next time. Right now, my battery is fully charging until later on. Okay, now let's go to the visual aid of what we're going to look at. So I'm going to go into a different one. Okay, on my display screen, as you can see, you have two items that you see. You have the keyboard and the mouse that I'm having right now. So let's go begin focusing on the mouse. So, see how we can get right, there we go. So on the mouse, we do have is the buttons that is traditionally being used. You have the left button, right button, and traditionally the scroller and the middle click. Now, we all know how to use these ones, which is the right button or the left button. Just click it. That's all you have to do. And the left one, which is our shortcut menus or some of the other functions too as well, or the right button too as well, which brings up the other function menus for shortcuts. And also too is the scroller, which is the top one or this middle section right here. All you do is just scroll up and back and forth, as you can feel on your keyboard on your end as it is. But some miss the other function on the mouse, which is the middle click. So the middle click, all you do is press on top of the scroller until you hear the clicking noise. And that's it. So these are the four functions on your mouse. Now on your keyboard should be, or on your laptop, same function too as well. It depends what's the how it's being laid out. I know some of them is kind of they don't have no buttons in the front of it, like traditional on the mouse, which is the left and right button. And then there's no middle scrolls. All you do is just scroll onto your laptop. So on the laptop might be a little more different and much more challenging. It depends how well it is being used on the computer drafting and how it's going to be programmed on there too as well. So it varies differently how it's being functioned right away. But if you don't like the tradition, or you don't like the function how it is on the laptop, which I have been there a bit myself, that's a bit more challenging and much more difficult. What you can do is get a device, which I'll show you right now, is a wireless system, which is, let's see here. I thought I have a controller here. Oh, right. Okay, which is wireless function or a wired mouse too as well. So this is an example of a wireless mouse. So as you can see, this is just a Bluetooth, no wires onto it. Then you can just connect this USB port onto the laptop devices, depending what you have. Either if you have one that's the USB traditional port that you connect it, or if you have a different plugin, they also have these attachments too as well, which is the Arduino or the Apple connection right here. So as you can see, I'm going to bring it a little closer. This is the Apple or the Google connection to what I have, and this is good for my other laptop or computer desktop that has this function, which is much better. And this one has a converter to actually convert your USB port, which is this little device right here, this Bluetooth system that you connect onto here. So you just traditionally connect them together. That's it. Voila. And that way you got to connect it. Use this wireless system to actually use that one. If you have a wired mouse, same functions. If you do have a traditional USB port on there that you can connect to your laptop, that could be useful. Now, we did go over your computer system too as well for your Solidworks or any type of devices. Onshape, there's no changes onto it on the software. There's no updates or no versions yet. Well, they do update on online, but it's an online source. But for the other functions, which is the AutoCAD, AutoCAD on AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Cura, Fusion 360, or other softwares that are downloadable and installing onto your computer, they will have a larger RAM system, which means you have a different RAM function for your computer that you need a larger room for that. So it has to require a larger component, which is the RAM is the main one, and the room for your memory space too as well, which is the gigabytes. I rather prefer the 1 TB if possible, if that's optional. And also with the RAM itself, go for the highest one if it's being recommended. I did explain down on the previous videos about installing your SolidWorks and the AutoCAD too as well, the functions, and that you can use that one to look for a future advance. The AutoCAD might be an old video, so I will update them later on in the future. But again, I rather required you to actually get a larger RAM space and a larger memory space too, as recommended. And also too as well is your iCore system too as well. There is some that is Intel iCore 7 that could be recommended, or iCore 9, which a little bit overuse on that one. That's a little more difficult. Okay, now on the keyboard now. Sorry about the backwards on this one right here on the keyboard. I will try to switch this around if I can on the laptop. If I do, great, that's good news. But if you can't, or if I have not switched this around, don't worry, it should be the same display on your keyboard. So on your keyboard, on the computer drafting, there's shortcuts that will actually help you out. Now, traditionally from AutoCAD, you can do is just use the mouse to actually go back and forth onto the menu of your computer drafting, which is the top screens that you have used on computer drafting before, either Onshape, SolidWorks, etc. You have to go back and forth to actually choose the sketching, choose a line, put it into your work area, go back, dimension it out, cancel it, using your mouse, and then go from there back and forth, back and forth. That's the traditional way, and that one, it requires time. And in an engineering course or engineering related field, it does take a lot of time. That's the biggest one of all. Time is the one that we have to eliminate and also be quicker as possible. So again, time is the biggest one of all that you have to hurry your pace to finish your project. So right now, as an engineer, we all have to finish these ones quickly as possible without taking your time. So if you're a newer engineer, as you can see, this is what being used most of the time, which is the money and time, and those ones are our biggest resource. If you're new here, as a new person, you will have to understand why it's important as an engineer that you have to hurry up the pace and that you have to be quicker and faster on our own pace right now. So industries and other people, they want to hire a engineer that has to be quicker, understand how to use their tools, and that way they'll know like, okay, this person's good with their software and they know their functions right away. They'll pick up the pace right away. Now, some of the functions on the keyboard, There is limited shortcuts on there, and sometimes you have to look onto the softwares that you have, that you have to go on over the icons, look over, like for example the line. You have to hover the icon on the line system, and that way it'll indicate saying there's a letter L. Or if you have another one, which is the, I would say, P, I hope Solidworks does have that one, it'll be pan. O will be orbit. Control Z will be undo, which is this one right here. So it'll be Control Z, that'll be undo. Control Y, that'll be redo, which is going forward if you want to undo your changes. Then you have the Control C, which is copy. Control V, paste. As it is from the other ones, will be L for line, O for orbit, pan. Different other functions too as well that does relate to as well. You have enter to enter the command. ESC is escape, which is deleting or cancel all the functions. So that's the biggest one of all. So ESC is the biggest one that you can actually cancel all command. So that way you actually start from square one. Delete, which is right here. You use that button to delete certain items if you select the items and you have to delete it. Rather just like select it on the mouse, right click it, and you just go down below to actually delete the item. It does take a while for it to, on the time, which I will show that right away. Compare the two items right onto the screen. But if you use the delete function, it will be faster paced right away. Okay. Next one too as well, which is the biggest helpful one of all, is if you ever have a PowerPoint or any presentation, if you save as, and you can save your any images on the computer drafting, you can save it as an image or save it under the JPEG, then the IGS, and then the other, I don't remember what was it on, PNG file format. That's a good way too as well. But that depends on what your job requirement does require it. If it's on a presentation that you need it right away, or like a very good advanced details on, which we'll explain that later on in the future. If you want to be more clearly, that's another way to do that as well. If you want to do PowerPoint, a report, or any type of the online documentation, or Excel showing. So that's one thing to explain that as well, about the verbal about that one. And after that, I think that covered the basics of it. So, but on your keyboard, if you want to do it quickly as possible as a simple report and as a quickly used presentation, and you can actually crop it down on your PowerPoint, which is another way too as well. But you can use that as a different orientation, which we'll show that later in the future. You can use the print screen. Now, on your keyboard, you can just simply press PRT-SC, which is print screen. That's it. But for your other devices, which is the laptop or any type of a computer desktop, you have the other ones, which is called the function, and now you guys just press print screen right now. So this one's is not the important one. FN goes on the other functions too, which is the F1, F2, which not a big deal. Those ones I'd rather not touch those ones, which is the F1 to F10. Depends on your computer draftings. If you hover on icons on top, it will display another icon that'll tell you, okay, this will give you the key command, easy and simple. Okay, so now we covered the basics of the mouse and the keyboard itself. Now let's get to these other ones as examples, which is the online sources. So let's go switch to the screen. Okay, now we're back on here on Onshape and TinkerCAD. We have two functions. We'll show you the shortcut of the areas. So now, on the icon on top, like I explained before, that on the top is your tool menu, and on top of them, you will hover the icons on top of it. That's it. You do not have to press anything else. Just hover on top, and it'll display it for you. There's no clicking, no nothing. As you can see from my mouse, I'm not clicking nothing else. So now, once you go on top of it, you'll have a display icons or any notification for you. It'll tell you what's the name of it and what's your key function. So this is the example of what it looks like right now. So you have this called fillet, and your key command on your keyboard, you're gonna press F or Shift and F. So that'll bring up the command fillet. Now let's go to the chamfer. If we go over to hover to chamfer, on here, there's nothing else. It'll have chamfer, so you have to do it manually to go over here to the chamfer, click the icon, and you have to do it on your own. So there is some other icons on there on the computer draftings that will help, that will give you either the shortcuts or without the shortcuts. So this is an example of what it looks like from the fillet and the chamfer. Another one will be the draft, which is like drafting one part to another top. Same thing with this one right here. There's no shortcuts on this one right here too as well. Ribs, nothing on this one too as well. Shell, hole, nothing else. But these are here from the extrude. This one, same thing. Shift E, you'll Shift E to actually extrude the part instead of going over here. Make sure you have to use the command quickly as possible. Revolve, nothing. Sweep, nothing. Loft, and thicken, and enclose. So nothing else onto here. How about the helix? Nope, nothing else. Same thing with the other ones. So it depends what type of keys and shortcuts they do have. We'll check out the Solidworks later on after the TinkerCAD. Right now, we'll show you on the sketch. So right now, we're gonna click over to sketch. Same thing with this one here. If you're familiar with your keyboard and familiar with the Onshape itself with the computer drafting, hover on top of it. It'll say create new sketch, or you can do a Shift S. So I'm not gonna click anything else right here. Watch what you can see on the screen. I'm gonna type in my words, Shift S. There we go. So now everything else is now in place. And this one right now, it will not display the sketch yet because we have not selected our planes. So we know what to do with our planes is select one of them. I'm gonna go on top. There we go. I'm gonna orient it right away. You can actually orient it on the cube right here, or you can actually use the arrows on your keyboard. So I'm gonna go like this, bring this over here. It'll orient it for me, but it's gonna be like a different orientation how it's being displayed. As you can see, it's kind of like a little bit obscure on yours on our control. It can tilt it for you to actually go to different views area. So you got to go like either this section or the quarter to actually get to a specific spot. So it depends on what you're looking for on your part. So this is a good shortcut rather than just go over here on your cube, which is a good choice too as well, but it will not give you like the ability to actually go to the shortcuts like going over here to this corner, even though it'll give you to this corner right here. That's not good thing, or that's not good too as well. And you can try to go to the corner, but it'll not give you to the orientation. However, if you have a keyboard on your mouse or on your, if you have the arrows on your keyboard, that's one thing to say. You actually click these on once, and it depends how far it can go to the distance, and you will go to your specific spot that you're looking for. Okay, now let's go on the top view because we the arrows cannot go to the top view section. Okay, now then, the letterings or the icons on top we do have as these sketch tools. So we're gonna go on the basic one, which is our first one, is the line. So right here on the line, I'm gonna hover on top of it, and it'll say L. So like I said before, there's the shortcuts that you have to use. So I'm not gonna click the L, or I'm not gonna click the line yet, but I'm gonna type L on my keyboard. See, it will activate itself, which is this icon right here, the L. It'll turn blue, and the mouse pointer has become a center point. So that will give you the command to actually use the L function. Now, we want to cancel our command. We can go over here and cancel it by clicking it. It'll cancel it out. But on your keyboard, you can click or type ESC, which is your top corner of your keyboard. You gotta click on that one, the ESC right here. Type it. That'll be the ESC escape, and it'll cancel the command. So again, I'm gonna type in my L, and you want to cancel it. Go on the top left corner, type it, ESC. So then we can go over here to the rectangle. Now, most of the keys will have different letterings. So we think that rectangle will be R or square can be S. Not really, it depends on the shortcuts, how it's being displayed on your computer drafting. So for the corner rectangle, we have as G. Our center rectangle, it'll be our or R. So we have these icons that has a shortcuts, which is G and R. We're gonna try these two out. So I'm gonna go over here this corner. I'm gonna try G. This one I'm gonna click over here. This is our corner, and R, which is our center rectangle. Here we go. Whoops, wrong one. Whoops, wrong. There we go. I pressed the wrong function, so I'm gonna cancel my command, which is ESC. Okay, there we go. So now, next one, circle. Plain and simple, it will be C, circle. Click the center, that's circle. All the other ones, bring this down. But on these ones, there's no key shortcuts. So the only one that has it is the circle. How about our arcs? 3-point arc, which is A, but the other ones, nothing. unless you want to make your own command on your the keys or the shortcuts, you have to go to the settings and change the shortcut functions. So if you want TA, it could be tangent arc. But be careful about typing in your key shortcuts, because what if TA is a different function or another shortcut tool for another tool? Like for example, if I type in, so let's go type TA. See, if I type in T, it will go to tangent. And if I type A, it's gonna go to arc. So you have to be careful how you type it or how you display your commands. I could do function or do both letterings, which is TA like this, but nothing else. That's gonna be a dud, because it'll display one single letter or one single symbol. Or if I was gonna do like Shift Control Shift A, Shift 1, Shift 2, etc., or 1, 2, 3, 4, vice versa, it could be the same thing too as well. So now let's go continue on. And subscribe polygons, nothing else. I'll click this right here, nothing. Spline, point, nothing. Text. Then we have this project convert will be U. So we don't know what that U is. Okay. But right now, let's go cancel a command, escape. These two should have two of them, which is the trim is M and extend X. Okay. So let's go try this one right here. I'm going to make a quick command. So I'm going to use G. Actually, no. Let's go use the R. If you don't remember it, you got to go back over here. You got to practice this every now and then. If you are excited to use the computer drafting, you can use that one. Just go back over here, hover on top of it, and then you remember those ones. You got to use the cheat sheet too as well. You got to use your a paper, use Excel to actually type in those commands either on Onshape, Solidworks, or any TinkerCAD. Use those commands to actually put on your Excel sheets. Use those as your cheat sheet, and now you got to remember those every now and then. If you forget things like, oh, I forgot how you use the rectangle, center rectangle, type R, or you got to look on your paper like, okay, look for R. R is gonna be center rectangle, good. What's L? L's line, okay. ESC, escape, cancel commands, print screen. You get the idea. Now, if I was gonna do like this right here for the rectangle, click this one, and if I want to delete an object that I don't want, I'm gonna press these two right here. It's already been good to go on our squares. I'm gonna cancel my command, ESC. What if I want to go delete some of the commands? So if I was gonna click this guy right here, I'm gonna go right click it and then delete that sketch entity. That's the traditional way. But on your keyboard, there's another way you can actually delete it quicker and without using the right click. I'm gonna click this right here on my keyboard. I'm gonna type delete. Delete. That's it. Your delete is gonna be on the top right corner. It's just simple as word, just delete. That's it. Simple as that. So I'm gonna delete this guy too as well. Delete that one, delete this one, and delete this one. But instead of like selecting one at a time, I could use another shortcut, which we learned before on the Onshape in SolidWorks. Hopefully you still remember that. Is click this right here, drag it down, and it should highlight this guy only, delete, and just delete that one too as well. So same functions. Okay. Now we got this square. There's no dimensions onto it. Oh yeah, right. The dimensions too as well. Same thing with the dimensions. If I was gonna do over here, go on the dimensions, you can type D. Now you can be your dimensions right away, quick and easy. Rather than just go over here on top, go down, go up top, back and forth, back and forth. That's gonna take a long time. But if you use D every now and then, this right here, good to go. Enter, right here, enter, and that's it. Then I can Control Z to just get rid of those dimensions too as well. Control Z to undo, which is right here, same thing. Undo is gonna be Control Z. Redo is gonna be Control Y. So now you can now we know. Okay, we can cancel our command. Sketch is gonna, or our extrude is gonna be Shift E. Shift E. This guy right here, select that one. And I'm gonna do 1 inch. Okay. Now then, we can actually zoom out using our mouse scroll. Hold down our mouse, actually that's pan. Hold down our right control button, and this will actually orbit our mouse right here. So now, on your mouse, now we can get to this right here. I'm gonna go display my camera right here. Hold on. So I'm gonna here. Okay, there we go. So on our mouse right here, as you can see, you have as the right click. We're gonna hold it down and we're just gonna move it around. That's it. So you're just holding it down and we're just gonna orbit everywhere else. So this is how you use it to actually look for your specific spot you're looking for. You could use the same thing as the cube right here. You can actually click this corner, but it's just like a one struct or one focus view only. That's it. So there's no way to actually orbit. If you want to look for a specific area that you're looking for, click on your right button, hold it down, and you can actually maneuver where you're looking for on your specific spot that you want to look into. So if I was going to go over this corner, I could go over here. If I was going in the back, I can move backwards right here. If I was to go to the bottom, and top. So that's it. Then your mouse right here. You have a mouse that you can actually zoom in and out by scrolling. You can move your scroller forward, which is zooming in. Make sure your mouse is in the direction that you want. So if I was going to have it right here as normal, if I was going to zoom in, this is what your zoom will look like, and it'll zoom to that direction on your mouse. Make sure your mouse is going to be on top of the object that you're looking for. If I was going to focus on the center, it'll focus on the center. If I was going to focus on the corner, it'll go to the corner. And if I was to go to the edge, go to the edge. You get the idea. Then I'm going to use my right click, orbit this way. That's it. And if I was going to look for a specific object without zooming in, I can press down the scroll right here in the middle. I'm going to click it. And this will pan my object around. So that way you'll pan on a specific area that you want on the surface on the location. That's it. And the right and the left click is just just click the objects. That's it. Nothing new about that one. That's it. Or you can actually use this one to actually highlight the entire objects, which we learned down from Solidworks and Onshape. All you do is click over here in the corner, highlight the entire piece, and that's just giving you a specific spot. Same thing with this direction too. So if you want to go from to the left direction, go this way, it'll change the colors. It'll highlight the specific spot too as well. Or if it was like the entire object, or this one can be like a simple spot too as well, which is this corner. That's it. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna go cancel out my zoom function. So I'm gonna zoom in. Okay, and that's it on Onshape. Now, TinkerCAD. TinkerCAD, same function right here. We're gonna use the same mouse. We're gonna zoom in, zoom out. Pan's gonna be the middle click of the icon. Just click it down. It'll pan itself. Same thing with the Onshape. Right click it. We got orbit too as well. We got orientation. Left click it is gonna be the same thing. It's just gonna be clicking the button. But same functions as the Onshape. We're gonna go hover on top of it. We have the copy, Control C, as it is. Paste it, Control V. Duplicate, Control D to repeat the same products. Delete, that's going to be a delete function on your keyboard. Undo, redo. Then we have as the group, ungroup. What we got to do is align, which is L. Mirror. Import, I think this has no shortcuts on these two, so it's okay. Work plane tools, which is this one right here. So if I was to click W, nothing else. Okay, good. And this guy right here. Okay, nothing else. Cancel command on my ESC. Ruler, I'm gonna type in R. It'll give us a ruler. Comments or notes, if you want to leave a note for somebody else, leave a note on the objects. Now, on here, it will not be the same thing as the Onshape and SolidWorks. It's just basically the shapes as is. It's already been done for you. If it's on Onshape, you have to create the shape yourself because it has to require a dimensions for this one. And this is a lot more advanced computer drafting, a little more of the areas for like high schoolers or college areas to learn a little more about computer drafting. On TinkerCAD, it's just basically been done for you right here on these shapes, so you have to worry about anything else. I'm not worried about that one, so that's good news. You have to worry about these shapes, but these right here, this has the limitation of the keys that you do have. Home, nothing on that one. Fit for view all, which is the F. Zoom in, which is the plus sign on your keyboard, or you can zoom in on your scroll too as well. Either way, both of them works too as well. Zoom out, And then also the orthographic, nothing else on that one too as well. And that's it. All right then. Okay, next one right now is gonna be the SolidWorks. So I'm gonna switch down on the onto my laptop, and that way we'll look into that one later on in the future. Okay, actually, we'll look into SolidWorks right now. So I'm gonna go switch it out. Okay, now we're on SolidWorks. Now let's go look over the tools as well. So before, well, from the other ones, from the Onshape and the TinkerCAD, those are the basics tools as well. So TinkerCAD, straightforward, not that very difficult with the shortcuts. Basically just simple, straightforward, so that way you just remember those ones, and that'll be easier for you to use those ones. Now on Onshape, a lot more tools as expected, so that way you learn a lot more on those ones. Now under SolidWorks, same thing as Onshape, but a little more advanced area, and I'll show you how you actually change your keyboard settings. But I will advise you on that one later after this after I demonstrate the video. So right now we are on Onshape. We're gonna go into this we're on Sketch. So we go over here, hover on this the tab. Oh, excuse me, nothing much. Now you can do is go over here to Sketch. We go over here. Onshape, it does have the shortcut for that one, but for this right here, there's nothing else on here. So we're going to click Sketch. That's it. Same thing with the mouse too as well from Onshape and TinkerCAD and other software. Same thing. If you hold your left button, it will actually slightly maneuver somewhat different one. But you'll right click it and you select the different views. You have the top view, bottom view, then you have the side views. That's it. Basically, those are the simple shortcuts. That's it. Oops, go top. There we go. Then you have the middle mouse scrolls. You just scroll in and out. A little more sensitive than the Onshape, so kind of be careful where you're at. Then if you click it in the middle of it, you got to orbit around. So that's good news. And that way you got to maneuver where you want your direction of the view to select. Okay. Then the left button is just basically just click wherever you want. Double click it, left click. Nothing's gonna happen. Unless you want to click on the top lanes, basically it's the same concept. That's it. Okay. Now with the tools itself on the menu, same thing. You just hover on top of it without clicking nothing, and you'll bring up a small menu. I think that's the correct term. And you'll see that one. You'll see line and L. So if I was to type L on my keyboard, there you go. Keyboard. I'm just gonna maneuver around. That's it. Same thing with the keyboard. Top left corner will be ESC, which is escape. Cancel all command. There we go. Same thing with the keyboard. If I don't want the line from here, click that one. ESC for cancel command, which you're done. You're done with it. That's it. But if you want to select this right here on this line and you want to remove it, same thing on the keyboard, top right corner, delete. It'll delete down by itself. But rather than just like, I said, go Control Z for undo. So rather than just that from going from here, right click it, delete it, you can just highlight it, the items that you want. Wrong one. There you go. Left. Highlight it, delete it. That's it. Now go over to circle. No command. So there might be a command onto them, but be careful. Like I said before on the Onshape, it depends on the SolidWorks what type of key it could use for a different one. So if I was gonna type C, see, that's not gonna give me circle, but it will give me this menu right here. So that way we know what it is, but kind of be careful again. If you type in a specific letter, you don't know if that's gonna be the same as Onshape, or it could be different one from the other ones too as well, different softwares, which is the AutoCAD, Inventor Professional, Fusion 360, Cura, etc., etc. It could be a lot more different on the key shortcut, so you have to be careful. So make sure you go over on top of it, review it to see which ones they do have it. Spline, nothing else on here too as well. Rectangle, same thing. I'm not sure where's the command for that one. Arc, nothing from here. So we just maneuver around to see if there's any shortcuts around here. The only shortcuts there is just the line itself. So that's only one. Let's see here. Nope. Trim, nothing too as well. Go on top of it. No menu popped out because again, there's no shortcuts. That's it. So if I was to type in T, nothing else, no trim. If I was gonna try extend, which is E, Nothing happened. Circle, we did that one. Rectangle, nope, nope. And now you see what I did right now. If I click the keys everywhere else every now and then, it will not, or I actually like activate some of the other features that I do not want. Like for example, the R, click that one to get rid of the other filtration system. Or if I was to do the, see here, C, nope, nothing from here. And if I was to do T, nope, nothing. Because now you have this annoying icon on your mouse, which has that little filter or funneling. So kind of be careful on your keyboard which one you type in. Make sure you watch out for these ones. Either you hover on top of it, you'll find it, and that way you'll know which keys can go to which. I'm gonna exit out. Features as well. Revolve, nothing right here. Extrude, same thing right here. So we cancel the command. So let's go back to sketch, see if it does have done top plane. Yep, still that filter right here. So I think we did something wrong with the keyboard. We accidentally clicked something that should not be there, because again, we thought the items that we want to select, like circle, rectangle, arc, or anything like that, other tools, we think that's gonna be on there, but it's not. So kind of be careful. Now, if you're saying if you want to have a question saying like, okay, so where do you go to the shortcuts, or which menu do we have to look into to actually find out these tools and find out where can we actually input our shortcuts in without going back and forth with the mouse? So that's a good question about that one, is that you go on top of here on the menu, you go on tools, click that one, you go all the way down to customize. This will pop up and you will go to keyboard. So we click on keyboard. I'm going to extend this right here. A lot more menu, or a little more view, so that we'll see everything else now. So this is the one you'll find all the commands. So if you want new, control new, open, control O. See, browse recent documents, which is R. We think it's gonna be like rectangle or squares, but it's not. It's gonna be R. Close, control W. Save, control S. Print, undo, redo, repeat. Last command. Select all, control A. Cut. There we go. See, cut is the control X. Copy and paste. Simple as a previous one. Delete, it's gonna be delete on the keyboard. Rebuild all configurations, rollback, etc., etc. Then you have these ones, sketches. So we now look into this, the shortcuts right here, and then a search shortcut. These ones you got to input your commands now. So where's the, let's see, we'll look for that one, the line. Let's see. So search for, let's go look for line. Look for line. There we go. Line, it'll be L, or simple L is short. Then we have as the nothing else. Okay. So now let's go get rid of this guy right here. How to input our information. For example, let's try the rectangle or center rectangle. Let's see here. Right here. So we have the corner rectangle right here. And if you want to do a command, we can type in capital C. Is already careful, see? There you go. So we know this is gonna be already a command. How about R? See? So kind of be careful, so that way it'll tell you which commands can actually tell you which one it does have. So we now know this thing has the other commands. Is there others we can use? You can actually look online to see other people's information to see how they actually assemble theirs. But again, if you try to do that, again, if you try and go back to this SolidWorks on your tools, try and remodify it, it's gonna cancel out the other functions that we saw right now. That'll say like, okay, the R has already been assigned to another function, but do you want to replace this right here? If you choose yes, you're gonna be confused later on in the future, and you might, mess up the shortcuts that's already been assigned for that specific reason. What if I was gonna try Control R? Control C. Like copy. How about Shift C? Nope. Shift R. There we go. See, Shift R could be the best one of all, because that will be our rectangle. How about this guy right here? And that's it. That's all you do. And then search shortcuts gonna be Shift R. Actually, it's gonna be like Shift plus R. And that's it. Because that'll be your the title of it, Shift R, so that we can just look for that one for the search for. And then it's gonna be Shift R is our shortcut command. So that's it. And that'll give us our corner rectangle. What about the center rectangle? We can try, let's see here. If it's a center rectangle, it depends, yeah. So it depends like what your shortcut is gonna be at, but kind of be careful what you do have. If you can look for the other settings to actually figure out like, okay, which one should I use for the SolidWorks? It could be a lot more on the Google search, but again, it's a long stretch because of the whatever the assigned keyboards or shortcuts been assigned to from the previous one, it's gonna be really confusing too as well at the same time. So and if you are going to this direction to actually change it or actually add in your own shortcuts, which is great, make sure you actually have an Excel sheet, keep track of it. That way you'll know which one of these you actually go into. Or another one is could be like you can cover on top of it. So I'm gonna leave this as is for the corner rectangle, so I know where's that. So I'm gonna press OK, and then I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna hover on the line, good, and also I'm gonna go to the rectangle, center rectangle. Oh, what happened here? Corner center rectangle. Whoop, see? So it doesn't actually show us that there's no shortcuts for this guy. I'm not sure we actually did it right, but I'm gonna try out. Shift R. Go on top planes. Shift R. There we go. Rectangle. So now we got rectangle. That's good. That's good. So there we go. So now we add in our shortcuts into the SolidWorks. That's great news. Could be the same thing with the Onshape too as well. I think that one you use the different command. I'm gonna look online for that. So Onshape here. There we go. Found you. Okay then. So basically on the Onshape, you just go onto the main website, go to new part. That'll begin that one. Then once you get from there, it'll get to the entire work area. On your top right corner, you'll see the tab says App Store, Share, and a question mark. You click on the question mark, which is a little circle icon with a question symbol. Click that one, and it'll go down. It'll say keyboard shortcuts. That way, that'll be easier for you to actually go from there, and that way you got to use that one. So same thing again from the SolidWorks. You got to change and modify your shortcuts. But again, I'd rather just leave it as is if you're okay with this in this traditional way, because again, it's gonna mess up your shortcuts. It's gonna look bad later on in the future. So, but if you are gonna do it, please be advised use a Excel sheet to keep track of the settings that you have changed recently, so that way you'll know that you can actually modify it later on in the future, or you can remove it later on in the future too as well. So that's good news. So now we learned how to use the tools, actually modify it, customize it on the keyboard, and that this is all you can actually do for now. So, and that's it. So now I'm done with SolidWorks. I'm gonna go switch out to my Onshape or onto the next slide. So, okay, now we're done with SolidWorks, and now we understood the difference from those key functions. So on Onshape, it's a lot more of the key functions on there that you have to learn a lot more. TinkerCAD, just straightforward, just a little bit of the key functions on there. Not that very difficult on that one right away. So that way you have to worry about that one. On SolidWorks, on the other hand, same thing as Onshape, but a lot more advanced. You have to understand how to use the tools on that one. And to create shortcuts too as well, we learned how to use that one too as well, how you create your keys shortcuts. But be warned about that one. Kind of be careful how you label it and what's the limitation on the shortcuts too as well, because it depends what you have on the keyboards, and it depends on what's the functions that it has too as well. So, and also too, it varies differently on each of the commands that you're using on the SolidWorks. So it's not gonna be like using the simple as using line on the SolidWorks rather than using the simulation. You have to use the key function, which it doesn't work that way because you will get confused and that it will not do the command as it should be doing. So that's one of the biggest ones that it could be a problematic in the future. So kind of be careful on that one. But if you like the keys shortcuts as is, as it should be, good to go. We're good. And if you want to learn more about that one to actually do more fast pace on the computer drafting skills, make sure to actually learn those keyboards. You can actually do those right away, fast and simple, and label them out too as well. So like I said before, use the Excel sheet to actually label out the functions, what the commands are, and what they're being used for. Okay, so hopefully this is a good demonstration for your keyboards right away, and that hopefully this does help out with you along the way and help you out about how to use those key functions onto it. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Give it a like, subscribe, and also check out on the CalSmarter Company online for more of the short or more of the videos too as well that I do. More of the basics stuff, basics commands or basics instructions. So hopefully this will be later on, be useful later on in the future. Okay, thank you, and have a good day. Goodbye.